So now, Andrés, let's jump into the second part of this interview. Let's understand how the Singaporean consumers perceive Spanish wines. So, in which ways are Spanish wines perceived in this country?
So before talking about Spain, it's we need to understand what is the size of Spain in the market. The Singaporean market is dominated by New World regions actually. By New World, I mean Australia, Chile, South Africa, for example. And in this case, Australia and Chile are the leaders in volume. And then in terms of old world, is France the dominator. So Spain would be among the top 5 wine countries as exporters for Singapore, but is the number 5. It's not the leader. So the Spanish wine is more and more getting. I think Spain is aligned with the wine market in Singapore. Now it's growing every year, and Spain is important, but it's not the most important. So still is on a phase of discovery for the Singaporean consumer. So definitely there's a big growth ahead to achieve.
So it's really interesting because I think for the Spanish viewers, they will think that the major competitors are the European ones, so the French wines, Italian wines, but no, it's the other way around. So it's the Australian ones and the Chilean ones.
So it depends. It depends on what price position you want to do. France is the leading country in value, but Australia is the leading country in volume. So what do you want to offer to the Singaporean market? In our case, I would say that maybe our competitor is France, because we don't want to compete in a market where the price is the best opportunity. For Spanish viewers that don't know, the alcohol tax in Singapore is quite high. The total value is $88 per liter of pure alcohol. That means that in a regular bottle of 14% of alcohol in Spain, which is the average in Spain more or less, we would be saying that this wine has a $9 alcohol tax, approximately like €6. So really, you need to understand that the market is gonna start with a very high price, which is not has to be by margins on the players, or could be, but one of the big chunks is by the taxes in Singapore. So that is something very interesting for me, because it really makes difficult the performance of entry level products in Singapore. I mean, if we are thinking on exporting our wines at €1 or €2, then we need to know that the alcohol tax is going to be 3 times, 4 times, 5 times bigger. So I think it's a way of potentiating the performance and the perception of the market as a premium market. So the expensive wines really are not affected by this alcohol tax, while the very cheap entry-level wines, they are deeply affected. So that is a way of understanding the market for me that should help Spanish companies to know what positioning they want to take in the market. And I think it's very important that in Spain, since we are a growing category, we position ourselves in this premium. We bring some added value into the Singaporean market.
Yes, so competing quality, not in price.
Correct.
Exactly. Yeah. And in Spain, we're familiar with different types of wine. So red wine, white wine, sparkling wine. Which is the most popular wine in Singapore?
By far, it's red wine. I'm not sure about the numbers, but I'm sure that at least 75% of the wines consumed in Singapore are reds. And then the next level would be white, and then sparkling would be small. And rosé wine is very small in Singapore. So I'm talking that this is red wine market, and it's a premium market. So I would say that those are the biggest opportunities here.
Oh, that's great. And so I guess, so now it's red wine and premium quality. But we have great opportunities for Spanish wineries here in Singapore, and for all the Singaporeans who may be listening. What is our added value? So why are we such good winemakers?
So I think that most of the people here don't know that Spain is always on the top 3 producers of wine in the world, depending on the harvest. We could be number 1, 2nd. So in Spain we have so many wines to offer. It's not only a region. Later we'll talk about that, no? But Rioja is the biggest assumption of wines from Spain, which is good. But there are so many offers in Spain. No? We have cava in the sparkling category. We have a lot of whites. We have even the fortified wines from the south of Spain, where I'm from. And so yeah, I mean, there are so many offers from Spain, and I think that the biggest value that we can bring into the Singaporean consumer is value itself. Historically, the Spanish wines are not very expensive compared to other big producers of wine, let's say in this case, for example, France. So when Singaporeans try Spanish wines, they are greatly pleased because they never expect that for a reasonable price they can get excellent wines. So I think that, and as I said, the food culture in Spain is quite similar to the food culture in here. No, the Singaporean is a multicultural country, and the food is super wide. The offering that you have. No, so at the end, Spain food culture with Singaporean food culture can really help with our wines, which are something that can really put together, all the dishes that you have in your meal.
Exactly. So we encourage the Singaporean wine consumer to try our new, the different Spanish wines. And finally, Andrés, really important, how can we raise the consumer awareness of Spanish wines here in Singapore?
I think that we are the best ambassadors for the Spanish wines. The Spanish community in Singapore is quite small, but still, I think that in our case, as producers of wine, we really need to make sure that the market is active for Spanish wines. For example, on the retailer side, it's important that they do featuring special events with Spanish theme. Not only to offer wines, but also Spanish food. At the end, that together is really something that makes the Singaporean consumer to try new products. And also, for example, the Spanish restaurants, they are also very big and important ambassadors for our culture. Any restaurant that is offering quality food, they need to offer quality wine. So at the end, when people try these products in the restaurant, when they are with their friends, I'm sure that when they go home, they're gonna be wondering, why I should try this wine at home with my family, with my friends. So Singapore is a small country, so I would say it's quite easy to share with your relatives. And once you share with your relatives the good news, people, I'm sure they will get more into Spain. No? So I think that is a job not only of the professionals of the wine, but I think that all of us, we are the best ambassadors that we could have for our country.
Exactly. So let's work together to raise Spanish wine awareness and to make that Spain wine sales go step by step to the top of the market. Thank you so much, Andrés, for your time and for being here in the Singapore Sling. So see you next time with more videos and more information about the Singaporean market. Thank you so much for listening.